The second method we are going to describe for evaluating employees' meals is the prescribed amount per meal method. In this case, the kitchen has allotted so much money per meal to feed employees. So let's say that we decide that we can spend $1.50 for breakfast and $3 for lunch. We don't serve dinner. So that means that the kitchen records how many lunches they serve during the month. And let's say it's 300. And because we said that we can spend $3 a meal for lunch, we take the 300 meals in the month times the $3 per meal. That gives us $900. That means the kitchen spent $900 on employee meals for lunch. That money would come out of the food cost and go into the labor cost. Think about it. If it cost you $2 to make dessert and you sold it for $2, you would have 100% food cost. And that would look really bad. In this case, however, it cost you $3 for a lunch and you sold it for $0 because we don't charge our employees. Not doing this can make your food costs look really bad. And before you know it, if you're cutting back on the quality or quantity of the products that you serve customers, then you're on a downward spiral. That doesn't mean that the employee meal, the cost of each meal must cost $3, but that's an estimate. But it works fine. Some days it may be slightly over 3, some days it may be slightly under 3. Someone might be eating a hot dog, another person's eating egg on toast, another people's having a cheeseburger and fries, someone's having a chef salad. And then what we do is basically feed our employees and live with the consequences. There are, however, some parameters. First, the chef gives the employee meals that fit within the certain costs of the parameters, so that you are having someone who's trained and knowledgeable on how much food typically costs and how much the employees would be eating. Then it's up to the chef to decide or select a menu made by management. A cost is then assigned for each meal period. Once again, this is a way to account for the cost of employee meals without going through the labor-intensive transfers in and out and or tracking direct purchases. So we could say, as I mentioned, we assign breakfast for $1.50, lunch for $3, dinner for $4. So we know some employees may be having 2 meals depending on the shift that they work, and some employees may just be having 1 meal. We also know that some employees may just skip the meal. So in April, if we sold 175 lunches and we put a value of $3 on the lunches, that costs us $525 that we can deduct from our cost of food and charge to labor. Same, look at dinners. We sold 200. The value is $4 a meal. That's $800. So we can take $1,325 out of our cost of food and put it into labor, thus not being overinflated in our food cost. We can also do this method for a period. So instead of assigning value to the meals, we can assign amount of food cost to be credited to each period, regardless of the amount of employees, no matter the amount of employees eating or what they eat. So let's pretend that management decides the kitchen will have $1,000 to spend on feeding employees their meals. And that will be counted as the food cost for employee meals. So once again, that $1,000 coming out of our cost of goods sold, and it's going towards labor cost. Now, we're not feeding them lobster every day, but we want to make sure our employees are happy with the meals because it is an added benefit, but it's only a benefit if employees like the meals. So we'd have to balance between burgers and whatever else that we think would fit into that $1,000 and also keep employees happy. It's ultimately up to the chef or the manager to decide what employees will be fed, and the chef and the management are responsible for the overall food cost at the end of the month. So it's a way for the chef or the manager to account for the cost of meals for employee meals, but also make sure that they are properly having their food cost accurate.